Hey guys, how's it going? So today we're going to be breaking down some of the recent rumored fight news, that being Israel Adesanya versus Nasruddin Imavov for the UFC's Saudi Arabia card on February 1st, which is meant to, or assumed to be headlining the card. Now, this fight comes as a bit of a surprise, as it was already rumored that Adesanya versus Borralho was in the works for the Australia pay-per-view, which is just 2 weeks after the Saudi card. So that was a bit surprising. However, I do think it's better because I think Imavov is actually more deserving of an Adesanya fight and more deserving of a number one contender fight, because Imavov beat Cannonier and beat Brendan Allen. While not maybe as impressive as Borralho knocked out Paul Craig and won a decision over Cannonier. So Imavov's got more top wins. He's beat Dolidze, Cannonier, and then Allen. So it makes sense, but just the change is a little bit strange. Maybe Borralho got injured, and Imavov has had trouble getting a visa into Australia, so that's why they put it on the Saudi card, because I don't think they'd struggle to get a main event for the February 1st card. I feel like they were already going to try and do Umar versus Yudong in December on the Tampa card, and they were willing to do it early next year, so I don't understand why that couldn't have been the main event on the Saudi card, maybe because of Ramadan, but regardless, they have decided to go with Imavov versus Adesanya, and I do actually think Adesanya is going to win this fight. Now, Imavov does have good grappling, but I think against Adesanya it's not going to be as beneficial. I think Adesanya still does have really good takedown defense, and I think Imavov just lacks the wildness that Duplessis has, or he lacks the almost weird sort of defensive striking style that Strickland has. The thing with Adesanya is you can beat him in the striking, but you've got to be very specific. But Imavov, his nickname is quite literally the Sniper. He's very basic. He's not basic's not the right word. He's very light on his feet. He's bounced. He can go tit for tat with you. And I think in a fight like that against Adesanya, you're essentially just playing into his game. He has a more bladed stance. It's going to be open for Adesanya to leg kick. Imavov has good power, but I'm not sitting here being like, he's not sitting here laying people out. He has decent dynamism, but I don't see him use enough leg kicks to pose a threat to Adesanya, because Adesanya is vulnerable to the leg kicks at times, and I see Imavov being susceptible to the leg kicks as well. I don't think Adesanya will finish Imavov. I think Imavov has a pretty darn good chin, and he's shown to be able to last over 5 rounds. So I do think Adesanya will win by decision. There'll be some moments Adesanya might have a moment where he hurts Imavov. Imavov might have a moment where he hurts Adesanya or gets him to the ground. It'll be relatively competitive, but I think just the majority of the fight will be dictated in the where Adesanya wants it and where he thrives best, which is kind of at range on the feet. Now, for Borralho, what's next? Well, if they end up going with Hamza versus Dricus first, they could put Borralho versus Strickland. Or if they don't, I wouldn't mind seeing Chimaev versus Borralho. I think that'd be a really good fight. But it's just a bit unfortunate for Borralho, because even though Imavov deserved it more, Borralho was on a good streak, and he is on a good streak, and he looked very good against Cannonier, and I actually think that Borralho had a pretty good chance of beating Adesanya. Like, he had good calf kicks, he's got really good grappling, really good jiu-jitsu, and his wrestling's pretty solid, and he looked good on the feet against Cannonier, so I didn't mind his chances in that fight. But it is what it is. Timing is everything when it comes to getting these kinds of matchups. But I am very, very excited for that Saudi Arabia card. It's shaping up pretty nicely. We've got Michael Venom Page versus Shara Bullet. We've got Adesanya versus Imavov, which is a great main event, really it is. They do stack out the Saudi cards. Pavlovich versus Rosenstrike, and those are the main ones on the card, so I'm very excited for it. Now, as for the Australia card, that's a bit interesting because it's not really taking shape right now, and we're not really sure how it's going to take shape. The UFC is pretty adamant about giving Volkanovski a title shot against Topuria right now, but Topuria is only going to fight in Spain. He's not going to fight Volk in Australia. So a lot of people are saying Volkanovski versus Lopez for an interim title. I don't think there needs to be an interim title, but I think Volkanovski and Lopez should fight on that card, even as the main event. You just make it 5 rounds, right? And then due to the shifts around in the welterweight division, due to like Shavkat and Ian Gary and Buckley and Covington, De La Maddalena and Usman could most certainly fight. I think that was actually rumored to be fighting on the February card. They were originally going to do it in December, I believe. No, not December, November. And then they moved it over to February, and that was all but done. But I think things got stalled out because of the whole situation with Borralho and Shavkat. So I assumed that they'd put that fight together again. And then Dan Hooker, I'm assuming, would want to get in that card, maybe against Justin Gaethje. The timing works out pretty well. So if they make all those fights again, which I do think they will, the card can shape up nicely. But it's just the shifting around with Adesanya and Borralho. If we had that as well, that would be a really solid pay-per-view, because the last couple of pay-per-views in Australia have been good, but they haven't been stacked by any means. But I am interested to see how that card comes up as well. And just another little bit of fight news in the middleweight division. We also have Anthony Hernandez versus Brendan Allen on February the 22nd. At least, I think in Australia it's on February 22nd. I'm not really sure because we're a day ahead. But I am leaning towards Hernandez. I think there are vulnerabilities in Allen's grappling. We saw Jacob Malkoon take him to a very close fight. We saw, what else is it? We saw Amavov defend most of the takedowns and, reverse him in certain positions. And I don't think Allen has the striking to capitalize on Hernandez's weakness to the body. I think Hernandez is tough enough to grit through, and I'm assuming this is going to be a main event because it is a fight night. I do trust Hernandez to get this one done, and I think it's a good step up from, I think Brendan Allen's ranked number 8, Hernandez would be around number 14, number 13. I think it's a pretty solid matchup, and then if Hernandez goes ahead and wins that, we're looking at like a Whitaker, a Strickland coming off a loss, like big matchups. So I'm pretty excited for that as well. Some matchups for next year are starting to come together quite nicely. So anyway, guys, I was just looking to discuss some of the recent MMA news. I am sorry for the inactivity. I've been busy with exams, but hope you enjoyed the discussion, and see you guys next time.